Okay, you guys. Hey, sorry, just trying to get StreamYard going there. But I noticed I also have an update on my computer to do, but I was putting it off. So I was hoping, because sometimes it glitches, eh? So we'll see. If it glitches, I might have to leave you for a minute and just reboot the computer, because I like it when StreamYard's in here, of course. But anyways, you guys, thank you for joining us on the live tonight. We're going to be talking about DELPHI. And we all know that there's the hearing tomorrow, and we'll be going live at 2 p.m. Apparently, well, Fox News is saying that there's a 30-minute delay, you know, from because it's a pool feed. If I'm not mistaken, it was a pool feed. Now, answer me this, Adam, because when I was looking at all the different news media that they were giving check marks for, I don't recall anywhere where it said no audio. So
no, there was something about the audio recording, and I have to read it to see it again. But there was something about audio being recorded.
StreamYards again. Just gonna try with StreamYards again there. Because on the check mark it was like, you know, like audio, video. You know, so that's why I was like,
I mean, I thought you meant like audio being prohibited. Other, you know, but no, I mean there'll be a video feed and an audio, of course, you know, on the on the pool.
Okay. Well, you know what? Why is it? Why am I so intuitive here? Because I was like, watch, StreamYards isn't going to work tonight unless I do my update on the computer. And sure enough, it's not going. So, I'm just wondering. Okay. Hey guys, I'm just wondering. Okay. Because I really should just restart my computer and do that first, but StreamYards, stupid thing. Anyways, sorry, it's throwing me off now because I hate it when StreamYards isn't in here, and I was going to do the update, then I said no, because then I have to save all my tabs and blah, 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 that I have open already. Anyways, I think audio mention had to do with official. Oh, okay. Okay, got you. Because I was a little bit confused by that.
Can't we do without StreamYard one night?
No, I like to have StreamYards in there, on there. Here, let me just try one more time, even though I've done it 3 times already. Let me just check. Anyways, just say hello to everyone for a second. I'm just going to check in the background here just to make sure that it's showing that it's on. Where's my dashboard?
StreamYard says live viewer comment show. Oh, that was hey Fibro, good to see you. It's a crime and shame. Good to see you, Mustang.
No, I don't want
a true crime housewife. There's Mustang again.
Oh, we're showing it was off.
Hey, Lisa. Lisa, it's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. SP74, good to see you. It's a crime and shame. Good to see you. Hey, Charmaine. Sharon Parker. Good to see you.
Let me try now.
Hey, Kathy Chapin. Good to see you. Thank you for the nice comment on my video, Kathy.
When did you put out a video?
It was a couple weeks ago.
Oh, that one.
But she had to comment on it, so I just saw it. So but it was nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, which reminds me as well. Oh, there's StreamYard. Yeah, I don't know why it turned itself off for no reason. It just did. So good thing I just checked, and now we're all good to go.
Lacey, it's good to see you. Hey, Alexa. And I'm trying to see if I missed anyone really quick. Nope, I don't think so.
Alexa, thank you for the PayPal the other day. Again, if you guys do want to support the channel, the links are up in the pinned comment. But thank you very much, Alexa, for that PayPal the other day. And again, a happy birthday that Steffa just had yesterday. So that's our tree specialist. You guys all know this, or some of you guys do. But before we get going on the stuff to do with DELPHI, let's quickly talk about just a couple of things here. I'm going to go to here for a second. I want to say, so the Flora house was demolished. Meow Zedong had put out a video today, and I had watched that. And Galen was parked, I guess in front of the house. I'm not sure if she was with someone or by herself there. So very sad, but she has the memories, obviously, the most important thing, which is of her daughters, which is, of course, for anyone that doesn't know the Flora, but, these are the 4 girls right here. And so just wanted to say, give Galen, a big hugs. At the end of the day, it was sad, but I'm glad the house is torn down. It's a constant reminder. It's kind of like the Idaho 4 house. It's that constant reminder. It's been a long time, but anyways, you guys go check out Meow Zedong. Meow Zedong. I always hate saying that name because I don't know if I'm saying it right. And you guys can listen to Galen there talking about the house on there. And so again, this is, that beautiful home that the girls sadly all lost their lives. I couldn't even imagine as a parent to lose all 4 children. Just horrific. And then this is the other case, you guys. I think it's I don't know. I think it's is it Joran Vandersloot? I think it's Joran is how you say it.
Yeah.
Obviously, so today was the hearing. I noticed that JLR was down there as well, of course, covering it. And so basically there was a plea deal agreement. And in that plea deal agreement, which I don't believe that that's been released yet, but it will be. Basically, that's where I think more of the story will be told besides what they heard, meaning, so in the court, he confessed to taking her life, and it was like, the mom Beth.
Admitted to bludgeoning her.
Sorry, Natalie. What is it? Natalie Holloway, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Natalie Holloway. I don't know why I always think of an actress when I'm thinking of that name. But so the mom Beth spoke, and she was, of course, basically saying, finally, we got our answers. This case has now solved on there. So I just wanted to say, like I said, there's more details about that are within that plea deal agreement. Basically, I think it was like in Aruba that he took her life
on the beach
near the ocean. there, and something about, I believe that the remains will never be found.
No, I dumped her in the ocean.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring up, those couple of things going. There's a couple of other cases too with some updates. Like there was some Koberger papers and different things. But anyways,
there was some Long Island stuff.
Yeah, there was Long Island stuff. Right. That's right. I was just looking at that actually.
A victim's attorney linked him to two more cases.
I was going to say I haven't watched it yet. I just seen it.
But I saw an article about it.
Yeah.
And I think there might have been, yeah.
Well, there's a couple things that I wanted to watch, but I was watching Surviving the Survivor. Lauren Scharf was on there. They were discussing the Suzanne Morphew case. So if anyone, of course, follows that case, go check out Surviving the Survivor. Like I said, just today. And Lauren Scharf, who has always been a big advocate for Suzanne, whether, she was in the news at the time. She was working for the news channel, Fox, I believe it was. And, then she changed jobs probably about a year ago now. And anyways, so, Lauren has always been, like I said, like a voice for Suzanne. Took it, it wasn't just like reporting. She has been always very invested in Suzanne Morphew's case personally as well. It's just a case for a lot of us that just grabbed our hearts. A mother goes missing on Mother's Day of 2020, May 10th, and husband's over in Broomfield, daughters are away in Utah camping and stuff like that. I'm very interested with the court proceedings tomorrow. Yeah, so well, let's get into the DELPHI. Right. Let me just quickly go back and share my screen here.
Right, and welcome, user more questions than answers.
What was the name? User more questions. That's a long one.
User more questions than answers.
Well, at least it's easy to say. I think I just seen Jeff in here. Hey, buddy.
If that's your username, you're in the right. You're in the right case, because there's always more questions than answers with DELPHI.
Yeah, that's what it is. Anne Hathaway. That's exactly what it reminds me of. Natalie Holloway, Anne Hathaway. That is exactly the name that I associate that with. Let's see what Joan says. Hello, everyone. Can't wait till tomorrow. I don't think it will be boring. After the motion, there is a lot to cover. My guess is Gull is a tough cookie and tested her. Well, okay, so maybe we'll start off with that first. About so tomorrow, again, we'll start. Deb will be joining us, and Alexa, did you say you were going to join us tomorrow as well? Anyways, so Deb, Aspen, myself, and possibly I think Alexa will be joining us. Hi, Charmaine. What did SP say? Just seeing what Charmaine, was kind of shocking. What did SP say up there? Charmaine. Oh, okay. You guys talking about the Huerman case. Yeah, I'll be very interested to read a few of these updates going on.
I know that one of the updates I know really quickly was that, that I guess he would bring escorts back to the house and while the wife was there, allegedly.
We heard this before, though, like months ago, actually.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I remember hearing the rumor. I guess there's someone saying that witnesses are testifying to it, or giving statements to it, the effect of it now.
Because I was gonna say, it was more like a rumor out there about that. Okay, so back to DELPHI. So tomorrow, like I said, we'll be streaming live at 2 p.m. And did Alexa ever answer? I'm not sure. Anyways, so I was watching some lawyers talking and stuff like that about it, and some of them, like they're basic. Okay, the thing that I always have to remind myself is a lot of these lawyers only know the tip of the iceberg of the case. They don't know like the whole case when they're talking. I always notice, because they're saying stuff and you're like, got your facts wrong there, pal. But anyways, some of them are saying that no, basically that it would be ridiculous to kind of like remove Andrew Baldwin now. Others are thinking um, that he will get removed, but not both of them. So, okay, so you guys in chat, put your thoughts down about what you guys think is going to happen tomorrow. And then I guess tomorrow we'll find out. So 69, absolutely fibro. Beautiful. Those are the best numbers in the world. So Adam, just go a bit about what you think is going to happen tomorrow now. I know we're up on it now. I know you've said last live, but for people that
I think everyone knows. I mean, I think that what they've done with the memorandum and naming those people and some of the shady stuff they've done, and now with this leak, I mean, I think that they should be removed. But I mean, I also realize that I'm not a judge, so I think one of two things will probably happen tomorrow. I think one, the defense will get a very strong
licking
talking to you, to get in line, or else. I think someone said, I agree with Joan about I think Gull is not one to be messed with, and I think she feels messed with. Or two, I think that they could be removed from the case. One or both. I think that everything that I've seen so far is linked to Andrew Baldwin as opposed to Brad Rossi. But at the end of the day, they're both representative of that law firm where those leaks came from. So, can you keep one without the other? I don't know, because they're both ultimately in charge of who has access to that information. And if the access was given to the wrong people or for the wrong reasons, I would think technically they'd both be responsible.
See, I'm going to see that a little bit differently.
Okay.
I'm going to see it that I can't see Rossi being blamed, considering it's like two different law firms, even though
you're right. They are separate firms. You're right. I forgot. I was thinking they were in the same law firm for a minute.
Right. But yeah, so they're separate. So if anyone's going to, get to me like either removed or definite lashing from Fran Gull, it's going to be, of course, Baldwin. Now, how, like, for me, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but I mean, obviously this person either had access to the computer, was shown the pictures, had access to the porthole that the information was on, because he, the person that actually took the photos, which we call MW, and a lot of people have been saying the name, so I don't actually, if you guys don't know the name, somebody had said it in the comments and I just said yes to it. And so you guys can look at that if you want to, because it's really allegedly, because it's not like this person's name is like out there from, out there in the documents or papers and stuff like that. But, so maybe he had access because he did work there. And I noticed that, like I said, one of his aliases is M. Baldwin's. When I pull him up, I had to splurge again. I really wanted my Intellius back. I really miss Intellius. I really like looking up people, and I just like to try to put pictures together. Now, I don't know the connection between, the M and Robert Kyle Forston. I don't know what their friendship is, or if there's a friendship there. Probably. I don't know. Is there? Do you know? Is there?
There's a friendship, and there's a friendship, and they both, have served in some military capacity. There is a friendship. They're on each other's friend list on certain apps that I found. And it's MW. I mean, he hasn't worked for Baldwin's firm since 2019, but throughout his time from 2015 to 2019, he held two different positions there. He started out as a law clerk, until 2017, and then he became the operations manager.
Well, yeah, Adam, let me just quickly, because, okay, so I have what they're showing to me is a master sergeant in the Indiana Air National Guard.
Right.
Um,
He served
and,
he served 6 tours in the Middle East.
you know,
And he's worked on the U.S. Mexico border.
mhm. Well, you like I said that stuff. I personally like have no idea because you've probably seen other stuff. Sorry, than I did in a sense. Like meaning, you know how when you look up something and there's more information on this than that one, and so so he was a legal assistant. Well, he was a legal intern from the criminal defense law firm first. Then he was a legal assistant. Then he was an operations manager for, Baldwin, Kyle Perry, and Camish PC. Now, what I find very ironic, and then he was partnerships in this other job for different things, but his latest one is showing ethics and compliance officer. That made me laugh.
That's his current job.
Yeah, that made me laugh because the irony of that, of leaking documents and then being an ethics and compliance officer.
Right.
To me, I kind of had to do an LOL on that one because it's kind of like, okay. So I personally believe, and this is my own thoughts, and you guys can have your own as well. I personally believe that this person really feels that Richard Allen is, not the person, not the BG, and that he wanted to put these pictures out there to show that to show the sticks, to show the girls with sticks on them, with the whole odinism line angle. It kind of like what that Robert Marks, what's his name? Mark Roberts did with the F tree, putting it out there because he didn't like that Barbara McDonald showed this F that he felt didn't symbolize the F properly. So he put that out to there, and
at the urging, according to him, of
is MW an attorney?
He's not.
No, he was a legal assistant and operations manager for the Baldwin team there. And correct to Robert Lee, who said about, the leak to Brandon Woodhouse as well. I believe that Brandon Woodhouse is not lying about that. And I think, like Lewis said to us in our private chat, is that those links could, what's it, go to a hyperlink, kind of like in an email. If you click on it, it takes you to that link, so that could be what happened as well. I mean, honestly, it won't faze me if truly Brandon Woodhouse was someone that they talked to and oops, here's another error, type of thing, because they're showing very consistently that they're leaking information and that obviously something's going on there, like there's obviously, you know what I mean? There's obviously something going on there if leaks keep happening. And so we can say that this one and the photo link and that the one back in April and whatever, are all coming from the defense side. So,
well, and here are two scenarios. I think that, ultimately, Andrew Baldwin is going to be, should be held responsible for stuff getting out, regardless of whether it was inadvertent or, on purpose. But, I would assume that it was probably one of two scenarios, either, which this would be the worst, is that he directed this person to leak the information out. I don't think that's as likely, but I mean, it could be something as simple as, and Charmaine even pointed this out, and it's something I was talking about the other day, is, a lot of it could be something as simple as this guy held the position of operations manager, and when I looked up the on his LinkedIn what he did in that position, he would have been the person in charge of who had access to things in the office, and it's very possible that they just didn't think about it after he left, and they didn't revoke his access to the portal.
Well, that's exactly what I was saying.
So
yeah.
it could be as simple as he still had a username and password that got him into the system and allowed him to get all of the evidence that was in there. Again, ultimately, that's still going to be Andrew Baldwin's responsibility to, that shouldn't happen.
Well, exactly.
I think that's going to be the determining factor on what happens to Andrew Baldwin. If he directed it, then yes, I don't think there's any way he stays on this case. If it was just something like a mistake where they didn't take away this guy's access and he got in there, it's still wrong. But that's more likely that Baldwin would stay on the case.
Okay, so good minds think alike, because I hadn't talked to anybody about that. I just was thinking of that myself, and I don't know if a lot of you guys also were thinking about that. Like, how did this guy get these pictures? Was it directly? I'm thinking that he had access because they didn't take away. I mean, what I'm seeing here is Baldwin's, the criminal defense team at this building that's right in front of you. To me, they're very sloppy, obviously. Like, something's going on there. And it starts with Baldwin. Like, shit rolls down, then back up, right? But anyway, so I see that being the more likely scenario, was that this person had access more so than Baldwin was like, here, take a picture, sneak it out there. And
what else? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was, and this will be something I'll be interested to hear. If I doubt we hear anything about it in court tomorrow, but I'll be interested because, we know these pictures got out there. We know the F tree picture has been out there. But what else did this guy get? That's, what else could potentially be out there that hasn't been made public yet? And, hopefully, even as terrible as these pictures being released are, hopefully this puts a stop to any of it else getting out. But from rumors I've heard that he did get other things other than these pictures, and that they were sent to a few people. But until I see verification of that, I won't believe anything. But I mean, it's very likely that he had access to the entire evidence, all the evidence items.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for something here, Adam, that it was so hilarious at the end of shoot, come on, where are you? Let me see if I can find it. It was on Court TV the other night. Oh, this is it? Oh, yeah. This is it. Hold on. I gotta play this part, you guys. It left me laughing so hard at the end of the day. What this one guy said, what this one lawyer guy said to the other one. But anyways, because I thought it was the most stupidest thing, that this freaking lawyer sitting there saying, like, it's not Baldwin's fault. Really, dude? Freaking whose corner do you think it came out of? Came out of freaking Baldwin's firm. And what do you mean? Anyways, let me just quickly stop screen for a sec. And I'm going to go to that presented. Okay. So I'll make this bigger. It's going to be towards the end. So I'll play it from towards the end. And if you guys haven't seen it, it's 13 minutes and 17 seconds there. Let me just go to it. I think let's just start from about the 10-minute mark. No, we'll go here. Okay.
The way the bodies were arranged and certain items that were at the crime scene may, there's a theory that may indicate some kind of cult-like or these odinist type of behavior. So I think it is prejudicial to release these photographs beforehand. Shouldn't have been done. And I do think the attorneys or whoever is responsible for leaking them should be sanctioned, not taken out of the case, but perhaps sanctioned to prevent something like this from ever happening again.
Al, do you think this helps anyone in the case? If these things are released and somehow at some points, no one has put it on the internet. Our understanding is there are some people who received this, may have talked about receiving it. Anya and Kevin deleted what they had. They're not going to describe it. They're not going to tell anyone what they saw. they deleted the image. But if there's other folks who received it, and if one person ever puts it on the internet for 1 second, it'll be there forever and it'll spread like wildfire. We know that. But does that help anyone in this case or hurt anyone in this case?
Well, it can help the defense argue that they can't get a fair trial because, you know, anyone who sees these photographs is going to be.
But what if it's the defense that leaked it? Can you leak it on one hand and then say we can't get a fair trial on the other? I mean, are they allowed to talk out of both sides of their mouth?
Vin, this is odinism, right? Okay. Loki is the god of mischief, and Loki is one of the tenets of odinism. So let's chalk it all up to Loki. He's the one who did this on this, and it goes from there. I mean, this is the most bizarre religion. Potty mouth, quiet. There's a situation with regard. This is a family show, Darnell. Please, okay. Now the situation is that, you know, you've got this ridiculous religion to begin with. Okay, you're going to have to get a jury involved, and if it's just like in this situation, the lawyer has to have some sort of control of his office. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, how can you blame him for something that somebody did in his office? It's not necessarily their fault.
You can't blame them.
And as long as they don't have a hand.
It's his job to control, or the lawyer's job to control what goes on in the office. I mean,
and you find them,
and
you find them, okay, and you put sanctions against them. Okay, maybe you bring them up on an ethics charge, but you're not going to throw them out of the case at this later date.
It's the public defender's office. It's the public defender's office. They're huge.
I'm a public defender. I've been a public defender for 15 years. Okay.
Public pretender. I'm saying a public defender, not public pretender.
Okay. I said public.
What? Oh,
I didn't say public. He goes, I didn't say public defender. I said public pretender or something like that. So that guy that was up in the right-hand corner, whatever his name was, he was being so rude. He was so full of himself, whatever. Like he's sitting there saying, well, let's blame Loki. You know, like, what do you mean? We're not going to blame, you know, Andrew Baldwin. Go back to law school, buddy. Seriously. But and then he's sitting there going like, you know, saying he's a potty mouth and he's just being ignorant. He's just being a jerk. Anyways, it made me laugh so hard at the end when he said, no, not public. You're something about public pretender. You're a public pretender. I don't know if JLR is going to court. Steph says that her and her mom and daughter are going tomorrow. To
nice. I will not be there. No, yeah.
No, and unless you're going to fly.
No, I thought about going, but flights from here to Fort Wayne were like $800. So
yeah, I know, very costly. Let's wait for the trial, Adam?
Yeah.
Whenever the trial does take place. So, like I said, a lot of people like that one. The female lawyer there was saying about being sanctioned, you know, that he should be sanctioned. Actually, I'm not even sure what that, I know what sanctioned is, but not really sure like what that means in law, for example, to be sanctioned. What does that mean? Adam, do you know?
Punished, usually.
Well, I know, yeah. I'm not sure what actual sanction means in that, but if somebody does know, sure. Frank is going. And Bob Moda. Yeah, I was just watching Bob Moda on Surviving the Survivor. And Frank, yeah. Bob Moda and his wife were on Surviving the Survivor, talking about, you know, one of the things from Surviving the Survivor that, again, kind of made me laugh was when Bob Moda was talking about Dan Doolin, and he's like, he basically is like, so Dan Doolin is at the press conference, and they're literally talking about the BG and the clothes and the person that's there, and basically he called it incompetence. So like, meaning, I think the one lawyer was like, bull crap to the file was misplaced and this and stuff like that. But if I'm not mistaken, isn't that the Richard Allen Whiteman on it?
Yeah.
But but still, right? Who cares about that really? Bottom line is that I think most of us can't even comprehend how someone could literally, Dan Doolin, can talk to someone. I was there. Yep, I was wearing this, you know, and they got the picture up of the BG, the video playing. And at no point in all these years, someone didn't go, well, what about that guy I talked to? You know, that Dan Doolin didn't be like, well, I mean, isn't like, you know, I was talking to Richard Allen and, you know, he was there. Like, it just seems like such a joke, to be honest with you. You know, I just see, like I said, a lot of incompetence from both sides. To be honest with you, from the defense, from the prosecution. And I'm not even so sure that, like, I don't consider this, I don't know. I hope that they have something stronger, but I don't consider it a strong case myself from anything that I've personally seen. I see a lot of doubt. Unless they have something very substantial to add to this, I just don't see that this is this. Like, I see where there's a lot of reasonable doubt. Do you?
I think it's incredibly too early to tell that. I think personally they have evidence that has not been made public yet. Absolutely, I think they do. I mean, remember the
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard things from these defense motions, but there are a lot of things that, you know, they could have that we've not heard a word about.
Could be.
I feel like I'm getting a sense, and even if you look at the way that, you know, the documents, I mean, the defense is putting these fantastical stories out there, doing this and doing that, and whether that's to help their client solely or because they feel like they have an uphill battle ahead of them, that could be argued. But I feel like everything I've seen from the prosecution has been concise. It's been brief, and to me, that shows a sign of confidence in the case that they have. And again, remember, we don't know what was said on that confession tape. I mean, that in itself could be all they need.
Okay, so that brings me to another point. Okay, so I don't understand. Pardon?
It's just a thought.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's what, you know, this is all about, really. Until a trial actually happens and evidence is actually produced, that we have no clue of what is behind the scenes for that. So this brings me to another point, though. I don't understand this whole garbage about these lawyers talking about that odinism, that, like, one of them I heard talking today was, you know, well, you know, in the defense, you know, like, they're talking about the whole odinism thing. So, you know, it's probably true that odinism played a part in this. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, get back to freaking learn the case before you open up your mouth. Because at no point, and I have them too, like the affidavits, both affidavits about those gentlemen, the guards watching in the correctional office, Richard Allen, both of them say that they're not into odinism. Both of them say that. Both of them. Right. So where do they get this thing where they're saying, well, it's confirmed that there's odinism? There is nothing, zero, to show that odinism.
And if you look at the way that language can be painted in different ways, I mean, True Crime Web Steve pointed this out on his live, I think it was yesterday, which I watched, which was a very good live. He talked about things, you know, and with his background, he talked about crime scenes, and something he mentioned, it reminded me that, you know, if you look at some of this, the wording in the defense, they kept using this, you know, it was a ritualistic killing. And if you look at, like, the definition of a ritualistic killing, it's parallel with the word with the word signature, you know, in the FBI, you know, in the FBI handbook. And so, you know, so they're talking about odinism and then they're talking about rituals. But right, you know, you can say that, you know, this could have just been a ritual to the person that committed the crime. It doesn't necessarily have to have been a ritualistic thing, meaning odinism.
Correct.
And I hadn't really thought about it in that regard before, but I was like, no, I mean, you could technically say it was a ritual and not, and that be true, but it not have anything to do with odinism.
So, well, no, exactly, right. And again, that kind of reminds me though of when we've talked about the fact of that somebody tried to make it look like it was perhaps a ritual when it wasn't, but they tried to, like what I've said, misdirect. So to me, if there was any sort of ritual tone to it, I guess, like I said, I haven't seen the crime scene photos. I have heard that in the pictures that there isn't, like, I think that you just kind of see the bodies more so is what I've heard, but I don't really know. That's just what I was told. Because I was like, well, is there objects there? But I don't know that I don't know what the pictures are, right? So I haven't seen them, so I don't know how much. But from what it seemed like I was told was that it was more so of the bodies, but not so much of a big scope of the crime scene. But so like the defense said, though, right? They have found nothing on Richard Allen's computers or devices to attach him to odinism or to attach him to the girls. So again, unless Richard Allen, if it is Richard Allen, which I believe Richard Allen's on the bridge, that I do believe. But let's say, so if it is Richard Allen, where's that? So how come there's no evidence then of odinism or being attached to the girls, of luring them to the bridge, and stuff like that? So, I mean, and if it's a sexual thing, and obviously it has to be somewhat sexual since Libby was nude, but I can't, like, meaning if it was more than that, I'm sure they would have been like Kagan Klein and found a bunch of girls, on his devices or something to show that he had this sick, perverted, twisted, like there must have been something perhaps there, you would think, if there was, but the defense is saying like there's nothing. They found nothing on his devices. And that's what I was kind of hoping for, that was from the devices, that they would come across some sort of connection to something. What do you think about that?
I'm not ready to say that they didn't. I mean, I don't know. I know, but I mean, after all of the, liberties with the truth that I think the defense took in their memorandum, I'm not willing to take anything they said as 100% factual, especially when in the memorandum they even said there were things they hadn't reviewed yet. So for them to say there was zero this or zero that like linked him to the crime scene, they then at the same time were admitting they hadn't seen everything. So how can you make an absolute statement if you're also saying, but we haven't seen or reviewed everything?
I was just going to say that they did say that.
And I'm not saying that there is something linking him. I'm just saying I'm not ready to say one way or another, because that didn't make sense to me when they said 100% there's no DNA and there's no evidence on his electronic devices, but we haven't looked at everything.
Yeah. And another thing, so going to this Patrick Westphal that was on Sleuth Intuition. Now I actually watched 90% of that second one that he did. I love his candidness, how he speaks, just off the tongue, and he's like, oh, this has nothing to do with odinism. So anyone that was in odinism, okay, this is what gets me. Anyone that deals or is in with the odinism way of living or whatever way of life, they would know if those runes, if those things look like runes and meant something. They would be able to tell you what they meant. And not one person that I know of has yet come out that's an odinist and said, absolutely, those. Now, Patrick Westphal even said that, no, he doesn't believe it has anything to do with that whatsoever. So I hate it in the media that they're saying proof that odinism is connected to Delphi. It's pissing me off too.
Well, that's the effect. That's the effect the defense wanted in releasing that memorandum publicly.
Yeah.
It never should have been released publicly. That's why the court immediately made it, sealed it.
Yeah.
It never should have been public. But they wanted it to be public, and they got the effect they wanted from it. I just think it's going to come back to bite them in the behind, like I said.
Yeah. Well, what was it? I think because one of the lawyers, I think the Bob Moda guy, was saying, I know that he said what's driving him crazy is that the memorandum, the one that you're speaking about, is that what he was saying was that what the defense is putting out has to be accurate, meaning that what, say, Patrick Westfall said, or these, because those are statements from LE. But basically, like the stuff that's in the memorandum, basically he wishes that people would understand that stuff that they got from the state and why they're saying that in the memorandum. So basically it's, true in a sense.
But then they shouldn't have accused Brad Holder of murder.
Right.
Or having his buddies do it for him.
Sadly, because of that memorandum, what they're basically saying, why did the DELPHI stop looking at the whole odinism angle? I don't know, probably because they didn't find anything. So why keep investigating if you were led to dead ends? And again, as we see now, because of this whole odinism angle, that they're sitting there saying that, like I said, that it's like part of it, or that it is odinism, and stuff like that. I just don't get how, I don't know. I just don't get how these lawyers and that are saying that, what's in there. Again, it boils down to perception. And if the pictures don't get looked at as odinism, right, by, say, the prosecution, because they dropped that line, but they're acting like it's this big deal, that why would they give up on that one? Because even odinists like Patrick Westfall, or even what's his name again, Brad Holder, because they're saying that it's nothing they've ever seen. Alexis talked to somebody, with the whole odinism, people are talking about it, and everyone's saying no. So why do you think they dropped it then? Because again, it might have, I don't know, haven't seen the crime scene photos, so it might have some ritualistic tones to it, which, is meant to look a certain way. I just really have this hard time that Richard Allen, besides a guy wanting to maybe have some sort of, maybe he was into the whole, freaking ritual stuff, and, perhaps this was some sort of weird fantasy to do this. I still find it hard that one person did this. First of all, I do have a hard time with that. I watched a couple minutes of True Crime Web's thing on it, and all the time and stuff like that. But I was like, at the end of the day, someone could do it in a shorter period of time, probably. I could see someone doing all this stuff within an hour's time. I could see that. The girls getting.
I mean, judging by the timeline that we know of, as far as, if you go by the state, we know that 213 is when the BG video was taken. And we know that if true, the 357 witness saw him leaving the scene. That's an hour and 40 minutes. That's an ample amount of time for one person to have committed this crime. Brian Koberger walked into that house in Idaho,
People,
and committed quadruple homicide in 8 to 12 minutes.
Right.
And I know every case is different, but I it's never connected with me that people that are like, oh, he wouldn't have had time to do it with one person.
If it was Richard Allen by himself, my craving desire to know, like, was he into studying rituals or satanic things, or, you know, different things? And, you know, like, is his mind up here twisted about that someone would want to even consider doing that? You know, so that's the part that always holds me back from thinking that it's just one person, because I'd have to know more about Richard Allen and kind of what he did, you know, what
Right.
he, like, what kind of movies he watched, TV shows, you know, more about him as a person.
And we really know very little.
Right.
I
And
mean,
that's why I have
we're a year, and we really know very little about his character as a person.
yeah. Well, it's going to be very interesting tomorrow. It will be very interesting to see what happens. So I personally don't know what's going to happen tomorrow myself. I mean, if to me, if anything was to happen to Baldwin, it would be Baldwin getting ousted. And kind of like what they were talking about too, the lawyers, they were saying basically like the case could move forward. Let's say that Baldwin was ousted from the case, but the case could move forward still in
Rossi.
2024 here. If, of course, another, say, legal representative came in and came up to speed really fast on the case. But obviously, Delphi is not an easy case. So that's probably the worst case scenario, is probably Baldwin getting ousted. It's like by attorneys' popular opinion. More so, I think most are saying that no, it would be ridiculous to remove them, you know, get your lash in or whatever it is. So I honestly don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
I don't know. We're, like, tomorrow's going to come rather soon. And
Yeah.
I know.
I'm curious to, you know, I mean, I'm curious to see if Judge Gull addresses a few of the other outstanding motions that are out there. You know, as far as the 15th attempt to move him, you know, to a different facility. And then there's also the, you know, I think it's more likely she could probably address the Franks motion, which I personally believe will probably be denied. But, you know, I'll be interested to see if she addresses that and what she says about it when making her decision, if she does do that. So
Sorry,
she might even adjust cameras in the courtroom for trial.
Right, I was wondering that. Well, sorry, what was the first one you said? Squirrel.
Well, no, I said, you know, there's the you know, like 15th attempt to move him to a different facility.
Oh,
That's still outstanding. There's the Franks motion, and then there's the cameras in the courtroom are still outstanding. There might be a subpoena or two I can't remember that she hasn't ruled on yet. I don't think so, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like I said, I'm kind of like in a sense, I hate waiting, but tomorrow's coming, you know. Right. So we're going to have some definite answers tomorrow with how Delphi will be moving forward and what's, you know, get some answers for some things, hopefully. Now going quickly back to the patches on the guards, okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Don't you think that it's like all of a sudden they're wearing the patches, and then all of a sudden this is brought up, and all of a sudden it's like they have to remove their patches, you know? So I don't know. It's just, to me, that just seems like, you know, when someone's hand's caught in the cookie jar, I don't believe that they should be able to wear patches. But then I think it was Patrick Westfall that said something like, well, you know, Christians wear their crosses, and, you know, whatever cultures wear their different things, you know. So, you know, if a patch symbolizes their belief or whatever, their belief system for their own religion or whatever you want to call it, but then to sit there and, you know, be able to have them, I just thought it was kind of ridiculous. It's like, too late. You know, what do you think about that? Did Adam stay very back?
No, I'm here. my contact was bothering me.
Okay. What do you think about that? The fact that all of a sudden they're wearing them and all of a sudden this all comes under scrutiny. Now it's like, get those off, get those off.
Right. I think it was something, just like you said, I think it was something that, they didn't really think about. And then, once it was brought to their attention and they were told not to, they were like, okay. And they stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I really think about it with the patches.
What about the mystery?
The defense I think they were trying to make fetch happen and it didn't. Charmaine is something about the Purdue professor. And Charmaine, I agree. That sounded very shady in the way that it was written in the defense. I think support for the memorandum thing. So I'll be interested to hear if Judge Gull addresses any of that.
Oh, the professor, because
and how they found the name that day or the next day or something. It could have been that they just didn't think he was significant, so they didn't really look and told them that they didn't have the name. But either way, it just seemed like a unnecessary an unnecessary tactic for something that shouldn't have mattered either way. But it looked shady, so I'll be interested to hear what the judge says about that.
Adam, what do you think about the professor? According to prosecutors, he felt like it had nothing to do with odinism, and then all of a sudden he's interviewed, and then this other dude as well, and then all of a sudden they're saying that it definitely has something to do with ritualistic, like. Someone's like, something's wrong with that picture.
Right. Or is ritualistic just being used in the professional sense, which is essentially the same as signature.
Yeah,
because that wording is always very interesting. Like, did it look like odinism? And they're like, no. And they're like, but he was like, did it look ritualistic? And he's like, yes.
Right. So
attempted ritualistic. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, so that takes me back to Ives. So Ives said it was non-secular. And then you said that he said that it wasn't. Where did he say that it wasn't?
No. I said that. I believe he did redact that. And if you find that clip now, I think that's been removed.
I don't remember a redaction to that. That's why, because the article's still up. Like, you can still find that article.
Don't quote. I'd have to go back. I'd have to go back and find it. But I believe that he did say that. Actually, I'm not going. I don't want to say one way or the other because I can't. I can't
remember. It's been too while. It's been too long.
Yeah. There's been too much going on. And I had a million conversations about that whole non-secular thing. And so I don't want to say something that isn't factual.
Yeah. I don't know what I did with it, but I actually had a really good article for people.
Yeah. Oh, Jeannie, he absolutely said non-secular.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, the circumstances in which I'm thinking that he may have redacted it at one point.
I'm just going to go back. I just want to look at my, I want to see if I copied and pasted it, because I had a really good article that I just happened to come across, and it was about gangs and affiliations. I just want to see if I, by chance, no, I don't think I did, darn it. I think what I did was I had it open and then I closed it off, and I could probably never find it again. I'm just trying to take a boo here, but I don't see it. Darn it. It was a really good article that I wasn't going to read it because it's too long. Yeah, I don't. Okay. But anyways, it was a really good article about gangs and the affiliation between like prison and the gangs. Sorry, cults or whatever you want to say, and biker gangs, and how they have really morphed together. And I just wish I had the article, and it was talking about Indiana, in part of it. But it's basically saying how, like, say, odinism, or like,
It's because all those people watch Sons of Anarchy.
hey,
It's
yeah.
because all of those people watch Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. Like I know Freckle Joy brought this up, even though I think on Frank's Live. So I think it was Brenda. So somebody in our private chat said that, about the runes on Chris Mathis' neck, right? And he has Odin runes around his neck. And I didn't know that. Like, meaning I always knew he had tattoos, but I never knew what those meant, or that they were to do with Odinism at all, to be honest. Right. And I was just in my back of my head, I'm wondering if Patrick Westphal knows of Chris Mathis, to be honest with you. But I always think to what Garrett Kurtz said when he said that basically that it's an affiliate. So remember, Garrett Kurtz is claimed to be a dirty white boy and whatever. And how Garrett Kurtz had said that basically, like, when you're an affiliate and you ask, like he asked Chris Mathis for help with Nicole Bowen, right, to ride whip and help dispose of her. And that basically, like, Chris Mathis basically had to, because he's being asked by, his Garrett Kurtz, dirty white boy, to the whole. I'm trying to think what Chris Mathis said, what his gang affiliation was. I know he has Odinism. But I'm trying to remember what he said he was. But anyways, I just found that in hindsight, that was interesting, that those are Odin runes on Chris Mathis. And it's only because Brenda made mention to that. I think it was Brenda. I made mention to that I was like, oh, is that what that is? Meaning just kind of how it kind of came back around a bit, to a full circle. Let's see what everyone's saying here. In my information, what the prosecution and the defense claim about the professor are necessarily contradictory. The prosecution, okay, kind of what we just talked about. Part 1 of 2. I see. Part 1 of 2. The defense said it's mimicking what the person thinks an Odinist ritual looks like, which would also mean not an Odinist. Well, I mean, I guess whenever the case happens, and, again, thinking in our heads that the defense said that they hadn't gone through all the evidence at the time, that they kind of said that they hadn't come across anything on the computers or devices and stuff like that. It will be interesting to see if he was actually into that, or thought to mimic it to look a certain way, like I've said, when really it was, like, to make people look into the ritual whole thing to take away from him. But then you have a guy that totally admits to being on the bridge and wearing the clothes. And I remember a lawyer said today, when I was listening to, said, never heard of that. Can't say I've ever heard of somebody literally claiming to be there, saying that they have the clothes on and everything, and being there, like, at the time, is like, that's not normal. Like, that people just usually don't do that. And he's like, I've never heard of that, because I could see someone doing that. Well, because what the guy said, and tell me if this is true, because what the lawyer said, and that was Bob Motta, by the way, he said that Richard Allen called the tip line because they wanted people to call the tip line if they had any information, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, tip line? Called in the tip line?
Well, and that would have been the original tip line, right? Like, because remember, it wasn't there, like, it was when the FBI, I mean, so that, I actually think, I have no way to back this up, but I actually think that when the FBI came in and they they changed the tip line, I actually do think that it may have caused a little bit of confusion as far as what tips were received before they implemented the Orion system.
Right.
And I might be pronouncing that. And you know, it's just a thought that I was having, but you know, because some of the you know, they got a lot of tips very early on, and then when that system came in, of course they got a lot more. But as far as like I have not watched any of the Westfall interviews. I need to. I just, you know, I mean, I've never really, I didn't think it was odinism to begin with, so I really haven't looked into it, but I will watch them. Because I think he's done two with Sleuth Intuition, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what Radar. What are you saying? Perhaps that he can play it sometime. Which are you referring to? Did Sharon Parker say she was going for the night?
Oh wait, goodbye. Good night, Sharon.
She is. Then criminality. Hello, criminality. From my understanding, the tip line was officer set up around town, and RA walked up to duty at the grocery store.
I'd heard that too, criminal. So it'd be interesting to see what, you know, how that actually did transpire.
Yeah.
Ivy says something about the non-secular thing up here. That might be why this might be why I was remembering the redacted thing. Ivy Rose says the non-secular part of the article was removed very soon after it was published. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of when I'm, you know, about, because when I heard he redacted it, I think that's why they removed it from the article. But he did say it.
That's so strange, because I was looking at that article for years, and still could if I wanted to. Actually,
is the word non-secular still in the article?
Yeah, absolutely. So
I don't know. I haven't looked in years.
So I'm confused about that, because I mean I referred to that article many times. So I don't know about, like, I'm not going to disagree and say she's not right. It's just an article. I guess it would depend on, because to me, I felt like the article I was looking at was the actual interview article that I had for a long time. But I mean, it might not have been. So maybe it's just because the article that Ivy Rose is talking about to the one I was looking at, maybe they're just two different ones. But I'm not sure. So that could just.
But that might be what I'm. But that might be what I'm thinking of when I'm saying, you know, the redacted part. So, but again, I don't know. I haven't seen the article in a long time, so I'm not gonna say it one way or another, because I don't have anything to back it up. I'd have to go back and look it up.
Yeah. Well, the thing about,
he did say it. We can all agree with that. He did say it.
Yes, we can all agree with that. Just so Radar, for the Galen Rose, one thing I sometimes think that people that are viewing don't understand is when you play somebody else from somebody else's live, you can easily get a copyright strike. Now, I don't believe that Meow Zen Dog would do that here, because, you know, she comes into this channel and, you know, and she might be totally cool with it. Because, but anyways, so thing is, if somebody wants to be a jerk, they can, and they can literally give you a copyright strike against using their content. You can use someone's content if it's done in a certain way. Like if I was sitting here talking about and kind of like going over somebody's content, and I'm sitting in front of it, and it's more of a informational thing like that, there's a difference. When you're just sitting there playing somebody's content, someone can easily strike you if they wanted to, you know. So that's why, you know, and I'm not talking about news clippings. News clippings do copyrights, but not copyright strikes. So hence why I typically stay away from stuff like that.
Right.
Unless like someone like JLR, you know, had said, hey, yeah, you know, feel free to, you know, like during the Cavalcante, you know, and stuff like that. I personally like that type of attitude where content creators, you know, it's one thing to just take their work and just, you know, not give credit, and you play the whole darn thing of theirs, you know, and it's another thing, but I just wish more creators were unselfish about that, you know, because to me that, I don't know, I see more of a money hog views type of thing. Or some people might just deem it as, well, it's my work. I worked hard and you can only come here to watch it or else I'm copyright striking you.
Right.
I just wish that when you're dealing with something that's the murdered and the missing, I would just wish people had a more not so uptight attitude about stuff like that, because you would think that, to me, if you're in something for like this, you're in it for like the right reasons and not the selfish reasons. But yet, by the same token, I understand, like murder sheets, they'll copyright strike you in a second, right? They want their work. They don't like others to play their work or use their work. From any time I've seen anything, it's a copyright strike from them. And so you got to take it down. I personally, like I said, like it when people are more sharing and giving to their content, but that's just my own personal thoughts. Anyways, that's why you don't really want to use other people's content for the most part, because of that reason.
Right.
So let's see here.
Can I say something nice about the defense really quick?
Yeah.
Because I never say anything nice about the defense, but
Okay.
they have a beautiful law firm.
Okay, right? Remember? I love it, right?
They do. They have a. Andrew Baldwin has a beautiful law firm there. Hope he keeps it.
Okay, hold on. Okay, this thing's driving me crazy when it's bigger screen. Okay. Let me make it bigger now. I just had to find the right picture. All right. It's like a little gingerbread house. I know it's called a Tudor or something, Tudor style. But I think, like, I would love that house. Like, that would be so decked out for Christmas. But it's kind of like your space at your hairdressing salon. It has isn't it in a house, that one? Yeah. And when you showed me a couple pictures, it's like, you just feel the coziness of it. And that's all I see here is, like, I always like businesses that are like houses where you walk into them and it's just cozy feeling. It's not sterile, but this is just like a gingerbread house to me, a freaking candy canes in front. I just love it. Actually, if you can see, there's actual wreath. So this must be around Christmas time because there's a wreath on the door. It's a Christmas wreath, but just a gorgeous, I'd love to go to work there every day. That's for sure. Just a cute house. So, let's just quickly actually go over these. So, let me just find it quickly. So that was page 2. Okay. So MW, obviously, allegedly being the person that got the pictures, originally, then passed them off to sent them off to Robert. I think Deb said he went by the name Kyle. Kyle Frosted. Yeah. So, okay. So let me ask you guys on this one, now that we're talking about Kyle for a second, Robert Kyle. So I personally don't believe that this had anything to do with the photo leak. It might have been the catalyst of something where he was like, I feel like this guy was just really depressed, and this was probably just another dart in his brain. I feel like he took his life because he had issues. I don't think it was really to do with Delphi. What do you think? Do you think that it had anything at all to do with Delphi and the photo leakage, or do you think it was just someone that had?
No. I have no idea what's in someone else's brain, or what makes them come to the.
Do you think it had anything to do with
heartbreaking? It's heartbreaking that anything would make someone come to that decision. It might have been a factor. I don't think it was the only factor. I don't think that any singular thing typically makes someone do something like that. But I don't know. The timing is. The timing would make me think that it probably played a part. But I think it was why he did it. Probably no.
Yeah. Okay.
My heart just breaks for his wife and daughter. But because that's not going to be an easy road for them.
Yeah. Radar, I'll put it into the group chat. Like I said, I mean, someone asked me if it was the name on my earlier video for it, and I said yes to that because obviously they knew the first name. But let me just give me 1 second here. Come on, this picture, Adam. Are you just sending it to me to show it to me, or is it a picture you want me to share?
I mean, that's up to you. But I mean, it is a picture of MW and Andrew Baldwin together.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
This is where I kind of
Right.
is one of those things. Like, I feel like because it's not been factually said, like this name, that it's kind of one of those things like, because it's not factually said about the pictures of the leak of who this person is, there's so much of me that wants to go like, yeah, here's the name right here. Here you guys go to town. And which you, by the way, had let me know the name. So I thank you for that. Which made me want to go get Intellius again. And so there's that piece of me that's going, well,
no, I mean, no, of course I wouldn't put the name out there publicly, and I haven't, I've just put the initials. So
yeah, I'm just gonna leave it. Hold on, my camera's going. I'm just gonna leave it for the initials, and I'm
just
deciding
for you to have them.
Yeah, I'm trying to close this off.
Yeah, and Anna, no, I had never heard the name, and the only way I actually was able to find him was because somebody. I knew enough factors about him to come to the only conclusion of who it could be, and that's why I'm 100% confident it is this person. But I'm not going to say their name, and especially because I made a promise that I wouldn't. But the name is out there.
Yeah, it is out there because hence why someone said it on the thing. I put it in chat. Again, and it, you know what? If it was said that it was this person, what I'm torn is that, so if this guy, which like Adam said, is confident that it is, and I believe so as well. Yeah. Then because of the fact that this person then leaking the photos of Abby Libby makes me just want to say, you're a douche. And then say his name. But because we don't have like proof, I'm just going to leave it as MW. And again, people can look at the video to when somebody asked me the question, and but they just put the first name, and I said yes. So you can go look at that if you want, if you truly want to, have a gist of the name. But it's not like it's for sure out there. But he worked up until, like I said, 2019, like Adam said as well, and what it's showing on Intellius. So, I wonder what. So let's just say that Andrew Baldwin had no clue that he took these pictures from the portal or wherever he got them exactly. You think they're still friends?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Court is at 2, but
I'll be interested to see about how active, they both, Andrew Baldwin and this person, have been in complying with the investigation into the leaks. Because that'll be also very telling as far as what happens as a result of it. Because if Andrew Baldwin was immediately cooperative and gave over everything they had, to the investigation, that'll probably go in his favor. But if he, let's say, didn't comply and tried to help his friend, that's probably going to play into Gold's decision as well, and probably not in his favor.
Yeah. Jeannie, I was not, myself either. I've learned I've learned a great deal of lessons from Delphi. And that's, first of all, never to say that I'm 100% right about the BG. um, and to sit there, like when I was listening to Patrick Westphal, and like Patrick says, that on paper, looks like a monster, basically. You know, versus if somebody knew him. But I mean, because his name was put out there in the documents, and all these people's names is put in the documents. So like Patrick Westphal was saying, that something about like there's a shift that wants him removed from the job. And that now this is his kids, got to deal with that, obviously when they go to school and stuff like that, and other people, and when you think about when you really do think about the damage that how something can impact somebody's life, it really is an eye-opener to me about just the damage. And so, like I said, this person here, his name, is not like, it's out there, but it's not out there. And I just, as he was talking,
it's not a name that has come up in this case before. So
yeah,
it was a new name to me. But.
Right. And then, which leads me into, of course, wanting to dive, at this person. Because, at the end of the day, I mean, this happened, right? Now, the repercussions, whatever repercussions will happen because of the sloppiness or whatever happened that created this gentleman to be able to capture those crime scene photos and then, distribute them to other people.
Right. Well, and remember, the distribution of this evidence was most likely sent in its original form from this person to Fortson. Fortson or Robert themselves are the ones that could have actually taken I think a picture of the laptop screen. But sadly, I believe it's the original pictures that were in the evidence file that were originally shared. And that's what makes it more of an issue. Someone did ask, I think it was Anne. Yeah, and there's there's absolutely been it's been confirmed that they opened a formal investigation into the leaks.
Yeah. So like when I was listening to Patrick Westphal again, I mean, it just, as I was listening to him, I felt badly for him, just for the fact of all those names were just put out there like they were nothing by the defense. Let's just throw all the names out there. Like, meaning, I know that like with unredacted and redacted versions, and when the memorandum came out, and like I said, and there was all these names. I mean, I was kind of in shock that there was all these names. Like, I just was like, oh, like seriously, because at this time we didn't know that, that they basically, had put out an unredacted version, then I think taken it down or whatever it was. But we had already had it at that time, and we didn't know at that point that the names weren't supposed to be there, although I thought to myself, like, what? They're really just throwing out all the names. Usually they're unredacted, so we don't see them. Anyways, hey, Fig. Anyways, so I was just feeling badly for Patrick Westphal and anybody else that,
hey, Fig.
like I said, now, his work wants, like people in his work want his job gone, and all this stuff. And it's, like I said, it's going to be hanging over, and people think that he's the one, like he was part of it and stuff like that. Anyways, what's Figgy saying? The defense is claiming that RA is a patsy. So the CCSO, ISP, FBI,
County Sheriff Office, ISP, and FBI. Exactly.
Wait, the defense is. Sorry, what? What'd you say?
I said, yep, seems legit.
Yeah, I know he's being sarcastic. I was like, wait, but he's being sarcastic, right? Right. I personally don't put any weight on the whole odinism part of it. I put more weight on that it was something that perhaps maybe RA did as a diversion, and that's the plan that he came up with. If there's any ritualness to the site, I just don't buy, like, the defense. Like I said, I just don't buy their story. I don't buy any of it about odinism and stuff like that. And I just feel like, for me, I just really feel sad and disappointed for Abby and Libby, that this whole, and the family, that this case was already crazy enough before this stuff came into it, you know, and who knows? Tomorrow will give us some answers. We'll see if there's a delay going to happen. We'll see if something happens to Baldwin, or if he's just, reprimanded, and, lick his wounds, and the case will move on still. But tomorrow will give us some answers, and then we can talk better about things.
Right. Either way, I don't think the defense are going to have a great day tomorrow.
I don't think so either. So yeah, so again, for anyone that's watching it, so we'll be doing a live tomorrow for it. Deb will be joining us. I think probably Alexa as well. And, me and Aspen, and we're going to go live at 2, because they can't even stream anything, like Fox 59 said, till like half an hour. There's a half an hour delay on it. When things are a pool feed, it's kind of like with Murdaugh's. Was it Murdaugh's case too? Did they have a pool feed? Yeah, they had a pool feed for that, right?
They had a pool feed. I think theirs was live though, or with like a small delay.
Oh no, theirs was live. That's right. But I'm trying to remember. Oh, I think maybe it was Idaho.
Coburgers have been a pool feed, but they're not able to show them until after the hearing ends.
Well, during break, I think that they were talking about it, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I remember during the break, because remember he had like 2 hearings that day or something like that. But maybe, I don't know. Either way, like I said, we'll go live at 2:00.
And Radar, unless there's something addressed in that memorandum by Judge Gull regarding inconsistencies the defense brought up about the investigators or prosecution, I don't think there's any reason that Judge Gull could be unhappy with the prosecution tomorrow. I've not seen any actions by the prosecution that would warrant her being unhappy.
Anna, so I think it's because of the cursor or something that was on the picture. But I mean, if you had access to the portal, just like me, sometimes I just bring out my phone, take a picture, of it, which is exactly what, he could have done. Just brought up the photos and snappy and, send off. Who knows? Either way, it came from the defense team. Seems plausible that the guards forced Ari to confess to his wife instead. Don't forget his mother, too. Okay? It wasn't just his wife. It was the wife and the mother. Seems plausible that the guards forced Ari to confess to his wife instead of to law enforcement. His wife must be the ringleader. I could see Kathy.
Radar, just to answer Radar really quickly, you don't believe there's been a lack of exculpatory evidence that's not been provided. Well, I believe that the prosecution's turned over everything, and they have until November 1st, I believe, is when they agreed to the discovery deadline. So I can't see how they'd get reprimanded for anything when the deadline's not even here yet.
Right.
Not that you're not putting me on the spot, but no, I'm just explaining my thought to your question.
Fig says, seems plausible the guards forced her aid. Oh, wait, didn't we? Oh, no, we already read that one. My bad. Just to clarify in my muddled head, how do we know that there's been a formal investigation? Well, I think Murder Sheet said it, actually.
They discussed contacting the prosecutor and the defense. And then, yeah, I mean, like I said, and I know there is a formal investigation into the leaks.
They did, but I feel like that they also said that that there was an investigation, because of this. I could have heard it somewhere else. Might have been. I thought it was MS, but I know that MS said what you just said. But either way, it was said that there was a formal investigation into this, into that, and so there should be. Of course, there should be. They should probably investigate their own selves too, as well. They're at it. Didn't help that the guards were wearing patches in Odin We Trust. Well, this is what I'm confused about. So, to their affidavits, they said that they had that they were not into odinism. Okay? So, how do we know it said in Odin We Trust? Did they say that in the...
I don't remember. Like I said, I've not paid that much attention to the odinism thing, so I honestly, I don't.
I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember there was something.
I thought it was hogwash from the beginning, and I think because it is.
Well, it's just that I don't have the memorandum up, and I don't feel like bringing it up right now because I'm too lazy. But I remember there's being something about the patches, and I think that might have been said. But the thing is that But I believe what was said with that radar. I believe what they said was that they didn't have any pictures or anything because it was too late that their patches were removed. So I don't think that they actually had actual proof of it, because I remember them saying something like that in the memorandum. And as for Ben, I don't know where you heard that, Ben. I don't know of that myself. Baldwin should go sell used cars. I would like to hear from the experts when they see the crime photos. Yeah, like someone like Alexa. Whoops, sorry. Go ahead. Go back to it. Sorry.
Ann says, I think the judge tomorrow may refer Pixgate to LE for actual criminal theft investigation and to the state bar for professional ethics violations investigation. I think that's absolutely within the realm of possibility of them being investigated if there's culpable nature found in their actions.
And that's correct what Fig just said there. I'm still kind of confused about that. They admit they wear patches.
But the fact, just like with what Fig's saying, with the fact that, typically you have until the beginning of a trial or a reasonable amount of time before trial to turn in the discovery material or turn over the discovery to the defense. The prosecutor did not object in setting the deadline, so they were fine in setting a deadline to turning over. And they also noted they've not received one piece of evidence provided to them from the defense, because it goes two ways. Can there be non-cooperation against the rule doesn't exist? Exactly.
Bye, Charmaine. Love you.
Good night, Charmaine. Mwah.
Good night, my fellow Canadian. How can there be no cooperation against that rule? Doesn't
I have to go to bed pretty soon too. Sorry.
Yeah. Chaotic must miss you.
What?
Chaotic. She must miss you. Remember when freaking you were staying up all night doing lives?
No.
She went to the bridge with Kelsey. Yeah. The state was playing by the rules, so how is that not cooperating? It was actually the defense who hasn't handed anything over, according to the docs.
And I believe the wording was something like recent matters. I can't remember the exact word, but I appreciate it. So I believe that the hearing tomorrow is going to be about the leak, not necessarily just the pictures. Like I said, we don't know what else might have been leaked, from this person in the defense team's office. We just know what's been publicly released. So, I mean, there could be more out there that's not been publicly released. So I think it will be in regards to that. But she very well may discuss the Frank's hearing motion and the memorandum as well. I basically think it was, a come to church moment for the attorneys, because I think Judge Gull is not one to be messed with, and I think she feels messed with.
Yeah, right. That's kind of like me too. I don't like when people try to freaking take me for an idiot and stuff like that. Like that's kind of like my pet peeve, and come at you hard. And I see Fran Gull being that same way. Like don't insult my intelligence.
Right.
With these stupid games.
Or don't disrespect my authority.
Yeah.
This is, she's basically saying, this is my house. You'll play by my rules.
I'm just confused with Radar with what you're saying here. Like, where did we hear this? Guards didn't start wearing the patches until put on RA duty and removed when they found out defense strategy. Like, where did that come from?
One of the guards, Radar. One of the guards that was in question wasn't even on his unit. He would only help in the transport of Richard Allen. I can't remember the name of him, but yeah. So I don't think that you got that information from an official source.
They admitted to word patches, but they didn't say what they were, and deny the patches represent right. The pictures in the memo
similar, but not them.
were similar.
Thank you, Ivy.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Ivy. Yeah, I went to go kind of look it up for a second. Anyways, let's see. We're just gonna look at a couple more things here, and then we're gonna head off because tomorrow can't come soon enough. I'm so excited that like for the first time we get to see something televised. Thank you, Indiana, for coming out of your dinosaur age. I love it when we can like literally watch trials. I think that Delphi is a circus already, and cameras. I'm kind of still torn on it because I like it. Being able to look at these trials, and because I like looking at the expressions of the defendant, as they're talking or when they're not, or they're sitting there like, what's his name? What's that guy's name now? The guy that just sat there, the kid, the boy in the box. Can't think of the dad's name all of a sudden. Tim something, I believe. Anyway, and he just sat there like a stiff, pretty much the whole entire time, with his eyes moving just a little bit, whatever. Very sad case on there. Hey, Frank. Frank, you're heading off tomorrow as well. Yeah, and stuff. And I know that there's going to be a few others for sure. Since Franken State run prisons allow their guards to whoever they want. Strange. I would think it would be a strict protocol for you. I would think so as well. I would think so as well. But I'm reminded, okay, Cheryl, I'm reminded of way back when I lived in Calgary, because I'm from Canada, and I remember, and this is going back to I want to say like the 90s, and there was this one Sikh, I believe he was, that wanted to wear his, one of those freaking ass swords or something as part of the uniform. And it was like, hold on a second here. All I'm thinking of is, like, you're in Canada, right? And if you have those religious views, that you want to wear this freaking dagger thing as part of your uniform, all I'm thinking of, it doesn't matter where you go. You typically, when you have a uniform, right, you don't add to it, like, say, patches and different things like that or whatever, because, this is your uniform. Anyways, it passed. And the guy got to wear his dagger as part of his uniform, because of their religion. And I just remember that. And so to me, I mean, I know times have changed and all that stuff from the 90s, but it's one of those things is, to me, a uniform's your uniform. You don't rip off the arms. You don't embellish it. Like, that's your uniform. So I'm kind of amazed myself that they would be able to add or wear a patch. But then, I don't know, because I can't really disagree with Patrick Westphal when he says that, well, Christians wear their crosses, and I know that it's usually in jewelry form, and that this is theirs. But, I mean, aren't their tattoos typically good enough for, if you're a Christian, you're like, I mean, I can't really compare a necklace to me to actually your uniform. And adding to that. So I'm amazed that was allowed. Like, to me, a uniform's a uniform. You shouldn't be wearing no freaking dagger because of your religion to that. Again, there's tattoos or, I don't know, necklaces or stuff like that, but not your actual as part of your uniform. I don't know. That's just my thoughts personally. You guys might disagree with that, but I don't. I mean, you go to a job, before you could actually, back in the day, I remember you literally couldn't even have tattoos or have piercings, and chances of you getting a job were next to none. I'm glad that has changed. Or if your hair was colored, you couldn't sit there and go to work with your hair all colored and stuff like that. You had to look and be professional, is what it was deemed at. But I can't see being allowed to add a patch to your uniform. It just seems strange to me. Anyways. All right. I don't know. Do you agree with that, Adam? Like, do you think that there was a time, like, do you think that they should have been able to put patches on regardless?
I mean,
like, what's your,
I think that I think different places are going to be stricter about things like that. I mean, I'm sure it was in the rules that they shouldn't have things other than, well, I mean, I noticed, I've seen the rules, but I think, like, a lot of jobs, I think that, I think some places are going to be more lax about others.
I think that when you're with the government, this is,
technically, I'm sure a lot of these police officers aren't supposed to be doing TikTok lives in their cars, but.
Well, I know, you know what? The world is so different. I'll say that every time, almost every word that comes out of your mouth. And this is where I am not politically correct, because I really usually do not care, but yet I still, have, of course, certain things that won't come out of my mouth, even though they want to come out of my mouth, because this world is way different now. I think that there's really good things that have happened over time, and I think that there's really bad things that have happened over time. And now you pretty much can't say anything without somebody throwing some sort of stupid card at you, no matter what it is. It's like, you're gonna have people going, well, why can't they wear this? Like, why can't they wear a patch? To me, a uniform's a uniform, and you're working for, like, what, the state of Indiana, your thing or whatever. I can't, to me, yeah, like, I too think, yeah, there's a difference between having a cross for a necklace, because typically a lot of times people have their tattoos that represent what they're part of and stuff like that. But I can't see putting a patch on and that being
Right.
okay, you know.
It's funny. Ann says LE are government prescribed uniforms, not like say McDonald's. I don't, but McDonald's would probably be more likely to, or would be less likely
Not
to
let
get
you.
away with it. They're probably stricter about it.
Yeah, McDonald's is probably stricter about it. Yeah, yeah. And it says, I'm sorry, but I consider those to be the same. McDonald's uniform is a McDonald's uniform. Your employer's not going to sit there typically and allow you to sit there and whatever you want to call it, defacing or whatever. Their uniform. It's their uniform, But
Right.
who am I to say anymore? The world is really in a whole different place than I remember it. So I don't even know what's right and wrong to say, do this, that anymore.
I think that, but I think I'm really anxious and ready to see what we hear about tomorrow and what comes out and what information is said. And and I know some people that'll be in the courtroom, and I'm sure that I think it's going to be an informative day. I don't think it'll be a good day for the defense, whether Baldwin remains on the case or not. I don't know.
Yeah, tomorrow, like I said,
or he might get the boot. It'll all depend on what they discuss. But
yeah. Anyways, so yeah, so you know what? With that being said, I guess we're gonna call it a night. If you are around, come join the live at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be covering the case. And again, did Alexa even answer me? Alexa, did you answer me? Are you going to be on tomorrow with us? Anyways, me, Aspen, Deb's going to be here. And oops.
Right.
Maybe,
I'll probably be a few minutes late, maybe like 2:10, 2:15, but I'll be here.
Oh, okay. All right. Deb, that's okay. Me and Deb won't miss you too much. Yeah. And anyways,
but if anyone missed it earlier, I did say something nice about the defense. They have a beautiful law firm.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, you guys. Well, I wonder if MW will be there. Probably not. You know what's funny though? When I went to go to his Facebook. I went to go to his. The only thing that I actually found was his Instagram.
Yeah, he started cleaning it.
Yeah, like the LinkedIn wasn't there. Everything wasn't there. The only thing that was there was his Instagram, and of course it was set to private. And that's the only thing. And it's oddly enough, he's in a rack of tie-dye T-shirts. And so anyways, with that being said, we're going to head off tonight. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
And we'll see you tomorrow and see what happens with Delphi and what's going to go on there. Anyways, has to do with the case. Yeah. Sorry, I just want to read this comment quickly. I just don't see what odinism has to do with the case from the straight up level. Guess what? Now the world knows that people worship Thor. I thought that was a movie with smoking. Chris Hemsworth. Hi,
it is.
Kate.
Kate, in the world I live in, that's all it is.
Nice kissing. Anyways, okay, we're out of here. Let's get out of here. Guys. You guys have a great night. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This is Sunny Justice and Aspen Connor from It's a Crime and Shame, wishing you all a good night.